The power of story first started, we were hoping to create spaces where people who were going through similar experiences, what we call an affinity group, right? They all share certain experiences or certain backgrounds, certain identities, that it would give them a place where they could share their stories with other people going through the same challenges and basically know that they weren't alone. When we first began it, it was really grassroots and it was just a single population. I had proposed the idea of running a group for caregivers who, often tend to be isolated. They've had to withdraw from society. They spend a lot of time focused on the care of their loved one, their family member. We have in AWA a number of teachers who wanted to sort of expand the caregiver group, but focus it on teachers. We had people with chronic illness and invisible disability who wanted to begin running workshops for those populations. And also people who are grieving and in great need of a place to put that down, a place to feel less in pain. Those other groups started to arise organically. Um, and I mean, Power of Story very quickly became a nexus for a number of AWA facilitators who want to offer these workshops um, to ease the pain in the world. You just have the freedom to go wherever your mind and your pen want you to go without apology.
It's truly a labor of love, and it's service. It's a service that we are offering through AWA, but it's this beautiful service that has this profound reciprocity. So we've created a setting and a place and a format to provide the wonderful container that is the AWA method. And it's a service to those folks that whose lives can be very difficult for a whole slew of reasons. But the amazing thing is that it's, as I said, it's totally reciprocal. So whatever I get to provide or hold space for, I get back tenfold. And um, and I think because the intention that it grew out of is so clear and honest and authentic, that helps us. I mean, it keeps our true north, um, keeps us heading toward true north. And so I think that's why it's such a really wonderful offering. It's an offering in all the truest senses of the word.
In a Power of Story workshop, we give each other a rare gift, and it's our full attention and deep listening. So often, when we're experiencing a challenge in our life, very well meaning people will try to tell us that it isn't so bad, or that there's some silver lining, or they'll give us advice that we don't necessarily want or need. And none of that happens in a Power of Story workshop. Instead, we welcome whatever has shown up on the page and we find the strengths in the writing, and that's what we offer back to the writer. And it's really extraordinary that this simple act of reflecting back what's already in the writing leaves participants feeling seen, heard, and understood. Sometimes the group helps them to see things that they didn't know were there. And, they leave having had both their writing and their experiences affirmed. And it's so powerful.
The Caregiver Project Group has brought more cohesion and integration in my life. Prior to writing about caregiving, it was separate from my writing and my professional identity. Now, I feel that caregiving is integrated with my writing life, and that my writing life brings me additional capacity for caregiving. Caregiving, the AWA, pedagogy, and creative writing are all informing my teaching, and teaching is informing all aspects of my life. Instead of necessary areas of my life existing on separate, parallel tracks, dividing my energy and attention, I feel that these elements are now creating a virtuous circle and generating compounding abundance.
I've written with several groups, mainly the caregivers group and writing through grief. My son was quadriplegic, and I was his primary caregiver for 31 years. That simple act of setting aside 2 hours a week to think and to express myself through my writing was totally invigorating. It provided me focus. I could think about the prompts that were offered and take what spoke to me from those prompts. And then it stretched my thinking. It allowed me to project into what the future might bring, but it also gave me the freedom to look back, to use my memory as an essential tool in my growth and development, because I see each of us as a creature still in development. But I had the freedom to do that thinking. The atmosphere and the sense of community that is brought into these settings just, it inspires, I think, a confidence of knowing my thoughts not only have value, but they can offer insights to others. The insight into how to handle current situations, how to deal with future obstacles or challenges, and maybe to provide some insight into who they are and who they might become. And it is the becoming. It is the becoming that writing brings to the writer.
In writing in the Power of Story community, I discovered clarity, perspective, and confidence. A pleasurable experience in a safe group setting. Meeting other writers from various backgrounds and across other continents is a humbling and gratifying experience. I participated in the Art of Loss workshop. Each session unlocked decades of hidden sentiments. The guidance of facilitators Jill Golick and Sue Reynolds, trustworthy leaders, provided inspiring tools to create, encouraging writers with positive, constructive feedback in the AWA method. To write and share in small group settings removes barriers. I discovered my authentic artistic voice and tackled deep-rooted grief. The AWA method welcomes all, regardless of education or economic backgrounds. Discovering the Amherst writers and artist community has made my passion to write rewarding.
Power of Story, the group, the writing group, tries to give a little bit of life back to the writer, to the caregiver, to the person giving. It's not I have 3 degrees. I know about academic writing. It's not academic writing. It's not about academics. It's about emotions, emotional intelligence, and all of that. My relationship with the Power of Story is through the caregiving aspect. I became a caregiver for my husband approximately 6 years ago when he had a stroke. I have a lot of stress. I've had a lot of stress. So for caregivers to get rid of or at least diffuse some of that stress, it's so very important because they need to let go And they need a safe place to do that. And that is the power of story, the power of story workshops.
Getting to witness the writing that people produce is such a privilege. It's such a profound privilege, especially with people who come feeling inadequate. And again, that's many of us, most of us. And getting to witness them take a prompt and just let go of all that self doubt and fear and dive into the writing. But then there's the community, and the community that grows over time with writers who we're not don't know anything about our outside lives, and yet a sense of community can be formed so thoroughly and deeply. The caregiver writers that I've been working with for maybe a couple of years now, they're all dotted all over the country. I've never met any of them in real life, and yet I think of them as friends. And so it's a multi-layered thing, and it just feels very special that I get to be a part of it.
Engaging facilitators and juicy prompts encourage me to find words for the invisible. Writing in the company of others lets me marinate in the synergy of our Zoom group. Should I choose to share my work, I know meaningful, positive responses will come my way. But essentially, I write for myself. I write to get a sense of what I think and feel. I write to create connections between where I am and where I want to be. I write to tell my stories unfettered. I write to step down from the judge's chair. I've learned that when I cease judging others, I can stop judging myself. Body, mind, and spirit become open to awareness. When I write, threads of anxiety, fear, and overwhelm interweave with newfound patience, compassion, and insight. Strands of courage and care stitch my heart back together. Grace abounds.
It sounds weird, but we're in these spaces where difficult things are being written and read and processed, and it's so uplifting. I always leave feeling more connected, happier, less lonely. We often, when things are painful or preoccupying to us, we often don't feel that those topics of conversation are welcome. So there's an ease when you write with people who are sharing your identity or are sharing your experience. We know from expressive writing research that, in fact, saying these stories out loud improves our health. So we just want to keep making more and more spaces where it's possible to tell those hard stories and to feel the relief of belonging and like our stories are welcome.